It being 7:05 on the 20th of May, I call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members present except Margie Devlin currently. I don't know why I did that, I just did.
I don't know either.
First things first. Hookah bar. Hookah bar?
No.
Yeah, hookah bar. What the? In blazes? Okay, because we're taking our tobacco regulations into negotiation, we can put something in our new regulation, our new tobacco regulations, which would include hookah.
Well, it's part of, yeah, it's part of the options
For this.
for the new ones.
Now, we have an issue where the zoning board has to say, oh,
There she is.
all members are now present.
Good.
It's on the second page.
So, before we go on with the agenda for the board, I don't think I'm going out of order to talk about the hookah bar,
It's not on the agenda.
so we can't discuss it. Can I mention the
You
fact that?
can mention it.
So we've been approached by a business to open up a smoking hookah bar in the town of Abington. I don't know a lot about this, except the fact that it's regulated by the state of Massachusetts. The gentleman who oversees that division happens to be working with me right now as a tester for our new system, so I called him over, he started laughing because he's the one who issues the licenses for the hookah bars for the state of Massachusetts. So, just for the board's highlight, I don't know whether or not there's a zoning requirement. I don't know if there is a, other tobacco requirement other than the fact that our old tobacco regulations really didn't address this. And the fact that we have been talking now for over a month about changing our tobacco regulations, I am aware that we can put amendments into our new regulations to address this. So, just so everyone knows, it'll probably be on the agenda for the first week in June. They've asked to come to the board and make a presentation. I don't think we can say no to them, so I believe that we'll be seeing them in the first week of June. But, don't know where that goes. Just another thing to be aware of. One of the things we talked about at our last meeting that was suggested was a timeline for trash variances. This was mentioned during our discussion, and the appropriate direction here is to put a time limit on potential variance changes that this board will vote on, and then ceasing to do that in the future. I believe I'm correct with that statement.
Yes, that was the discussion.
Does anyone have anything to say about this?
I think
About what, trash variances?
Yes.
The trash timeline for the trash variance.
Well, I guess I'm still learning, but I did go on your site, and I pulled up the new automated trash and recycling program notice that indicated that as of August 1st, 2012, the town of Abington would have these new devices picking up the trash, and it would no longer do the curbside collection. So my concern with last week's presentation by the gentleman was that if you've owned the property for a couple of years and you're now coming before us for a variance, at one point did you, I guess even before that, if the town of Abington was supposed to issue these devices to each homeowner, the two trash things, the recycle and trash, if they were supposed to be issued to each homeowner, then how did this particular apartment not fall under that when they,
Because there probably wasn't an apartment there when the
What?
previous owner of the property probably did not have an apartment there. I'm guessing, but I'm thinking that the previous owner of the property didn't have an apartment above the garage.
I think he mentioned that.
I
last
thought he
week,
said
too.
that too, yeah. And then when he bought it, he put an apartment there, and then he was just taking their garbage every week.
well, that information could have been included in the minutes that were written up, because when I read the minutes, all it really says to me is that this gentleman presented himself, wanted a variance, he got the variance, boom, done. There doesn't seem to be any, my way of reading minutes is usually they have to be fairly concise and informative and have the information stated so that if questions had ensued as to how long had you owned the property, you know, why are you now presenting yourself before us? What did we fail as a town to not give him the stuff immediately in the first place? But if he didn't have the property then, and there wasn't an apartment then I think all of that information should have been in the minutes. Because I'm sort of still scratching my head as to how that whole thing got by.
Okay,
Um,
again, we can amend the minutes to include any discussion that is said at the board. So anything that is mentioned in the board during our meeting can be amended to the minutes.
Yeah,
And I think that's important too, because people do read these minutes and there is no detail.
yeah, I mean, he
That would
did
be
indicate that he looked and he saw no information indicating that essentially he couldn't go for a variance. And so if I, as a resident, I'm only now just really starting to read those minutes myself between this board and other boards. And if you're looking for information and it's not there, then you assume it doesn't exist. And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not, you know, so, I just feel very strongly that we need to have in writing, some kind of a timeline that people need, or if variances are gonna be granted, what is that gonna be based on? Not who you know, what you know, a rationale for it, so.
Would you like to make an amendment to the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take anything you want to say.
How about if I send it to you?
Um,
I mean, I would at least assume that there would be a discussion that had ensued. The petitioner presented that information was not available to him anywhere in the Abington, government site, I guess, website, that indicated that he couldn't at least go and ask for a variance. There wasn't any indication that he was not allowed to do that, that we discussed the issue of the variance request with him, and based partly upon the fact that we had no other alternative, really. I mean, we don't have any information that says we can't do that. I mean, he can't have it because we don't have anything in writing that tells us that he did not meet the criteria for X, Y, and Z requests, so.
okay.
And I guess my
Yeah.
other issue
Well-
too, just as somebody who's learning, and the idea of a variance, define for me what a variance is in terms of whether it's us or any other board. I mean, is there information that should be available on our website that is clear in black and white to people, that if they wanted to apply for something, that they would have to be able to meet certain criteria to get that variance?
The first time one was granted, didn't you present that information to us? So we were unclear on what we were doing, and you said this is something that,
I might have spoken as far as,
clarifying what it meant, and, because I didn't know
well,
at the
variance
time
is
either.
really an exception to what the normal rule is. And there's variances in different codes, like the housing code has an issue for like a hearing or variance or certain things, and different codes have that. But what I had since found out, that I brought to the board a few months ago, was that I guess we as a board are not supposed to give variances except for zoning. And that's why I brought up the fact that maybe we should really look at what we were doing here, is because the trouble is a precedent had been set, because we were giving variances outside of what our local Board of Health regulations say for trash and recycling, of what particular dwellings meet the criteria to get the automated carts.
Okay.
And technically, mixed-use properties and commercial properties, which is meaning strictly businesses, and also units that are 4 or more,
Okay.
are considered commercial, which meant that they do not get automated trash and recycling, the carts that we provide.
Yeah.
But what had happened was there was people that had already come in
Okay.
and asked for them based on whatever their particular circumstances were.
Changes in status.
Yes,
Mhm.
and so the board was, you know, listening to them and then making decisions. But like I said, I since found out that we weren't supposed to be really doing that.
Okay.
So we're sort of trying to figure out what to do now with it.
Plus,
Okay.
the new trash program, there was a lot of confusion when it was first implemented. You know,
Yeah.
It was such a drastic change from what had occurred before that
Yeah.
we're kind of learning as we went along, I
Okay.
guess.
Bob, would you say that was, you know, how you would summarize it?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do is, in addition, the fact that Donna will amend the minutes, is also take a vote on establishing a timeline of when variances, the current validation of variances will be allowed for. And I believe we have to do it for a period of at least 30 days, or 60 days, I'm not sure what the, I don't think there's a requirement, I just think we have to take a vote, and we have to have set a time limit for allowing the public to come forward with any other addition. And then we have, from that point forward, we would use that argument to say that we will no longer look at variances.
30 or 60 days from when?
The date of the vote of the board.
I have an idea,
I'm
and
listening.
it just came to me as I was listening to Sharon, because this whole new system was kind of, we were not as in the loop as we would have liked to have been.
Correct.
So there were some gray areas.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can put a moratorium on variances until we get a better definition. We have a new town manager starting in a month or so.
June 10th,
June 10th?
I believe
So I think that would be a good opportunity for us to get a clear understanding
About
of
variances.
where our responsibility ends, and if there are variances to be given, who do the people go to?
Okay,
And if it does fall back to us, fine, but maybe if we just put a moratorium right now, today, and plan to discuss, I'm hoping the new town manager will come
meet
and
with the
introduce
board,
himself,
yeah.
and maybe we can bring that as one of our questions.
It's a good idea.
And then once you do meet with him, would you then say that there would be a time frame of, say, 30 days or something at that point? that
Well,
no
he
one-
is a town manager, and
Or is he the one that determines?
well, let's see.
That's what, she's just saying what we need to find out from what his
Okay.
opinion is.
Let's see what his
Yeah.
point of
Yeah.
view is, because I am now starting to worry that we may be doing something that we really shouldn't be doing.
Hmm.
I like to be able to give people a chance to change things, but I'm not sure if we should
Yeah.
do any more until we have,
And we haven't had any other requests.
Right.
That's the other thing I just wanna say, so,
Okay.
That's
yeah,
good.
so.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Not like they're breaking down our door to do this.
Well, it's
Okay.
what
I
they
know,
don't
but-
start.
Not like they're breaking down our door to get
Oh, okay.
variances.
but at the
Okay,
same
that's
time,
fine.
you wanna be fair,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
right.
and
Don't
we have
have
made
any-
exceptions, and I think that's
I think
kinda
that's a, I
why
think that's a good idea.
we
So I have a
went with the exception
motion
last
on
week.
the table to,
Put a moratorium.
put a moratorium on any further potential variances in the trash program until the new town manager is on board and meets with this board. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I agree.
Okay. Do I have a second?
second.
I have a second, so I have a vote, a second. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
500.
So there will be no more variances granted until the new town manager has been employed and we have a chance to meet with him.
And then we can come out with whatever the
And
policy
then we'll come up with a policy after. Does that make sense to everybody?
Sounds good.
It's pretty cool. The last time we gathered, it was mentioned that we needed to have trash regulations or fines added to our trash regulations in order for you to apply for the grant.
The grant for the waste reduction coordinator.
And the suggestion was that you were looking at dollar figures in the $50 to $100 For a first and
50 to
second
100. I
violations.
wrote up a suggestion, if you have it in front of you, because I thought it'd be easier to read it, have it in print than to just discuss it without having something to read. And these were based on,
What, which meeting was that from?
the last meeting.
Go ahead.
These were put together from, looking at Lowell's, Haverhill's, and Southbridge, I believe, suggestions of their fine structure, and, some of it is, we already do already, it's just that we don't have the monetary piece on it. But right now, but the first attempt would be, a verbal warning by phone call or talking to the person, talking in person to educate residents regarding local trash and recycling regulations. A second attempt would be a written warning to the owner regarding the violation, whether it be a bulk item being left out, without understanding they need to have it removed and just can't be leaving it out, forever. The recycling or trash violation, along with a copy of our Board of Health local trash and recycling regs, which are these. The third attempt would require a non-criminal fine of $50 for non-compliance. Fourth attempt would be a non-criminal $100 for each additional offense without compliance. And then if all else fails, we would cease service until compliance was met, and if any fines were owed, and then we would keep a log of repeated offenders.
Okay. Can we cease service?
Yes.
Okay, doesn't become a health issue?
What's that?
It doesn't become a health issue?
Well, it would eventually, but the point is, it's hopefully a catalyst that they would,
Hopefully they don't get to this point.
Exactly.
I was just kind of
Yeah,
curious
yeah.
if we had that authority.
But it could be, recycling, because it is mandatory to recycle. I think it would be more issues with probably recycling of bulk items than necessarily trash.
Having too much trash, doing the, was it snow coning?
Snow
is
coning,
the-
that would be part of it, yeah.
And you'd be keeping a log, and what would you do with that log? I mean, would there be other fines after this?
Meaning,
If they have,
I would say if we see I just would say that if we saw an issue that we constantly saw a particular address that kept cropping up,
oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, it might warrant more education or just having to start the process over. But I'm just saying that it would be a good idea to see if there's a pattern of people that are constantly doing this. Usually, if you talk to them
Right.
and give them a copy of the regs, we don't have a lot of people that
No,
are
we don't
doing
have
this.
rude people.
And a lot of people just seem to also need to be educated that we don't do the selling of the stickers anymore for, the bulk items or the extra bags, that we're still having to educate that. But there hasn't been a lot of this. But we just need to have something in place as part of the requirements for the grant.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry, Terry. So, you may have already said this, so, the violation is like, would it be if there was one extra bag, by the curb, or 2 extra bags, would that be 2 separate violations? Do you know what I mean?
I would say if they kept doing it, we would probably, yes, you would start, it could be leaving a bulk item out that after you've tried to talk to them and sent them a letter
Okay.
and the bulk item's still out there, or the fact that they are repeatedly not recycling.
Okay,
Or, yes, if there are extra bags that you constantly are seeing every week.
but it
even though
wouldn't
you-
just be the first time, I'm trying to figure out if someone had 2 extra bags
No, you would go
beside
and
their
talk to them
cart, would it be
first.
2 separate fines, 1 separate fine?
No,
One separate.
you
It's the
would,
occurrence.
I'm sorry?
It's the occurrence.
Yes, it would be the occurrence,
Okay.
but the first thing, and hopefully it would stop it, either talking to them and/or sending them a letter
Letter.
with the regulations. Because a
Okay.
lot of it's education and just having people understand. We also, I just wanted to mention with this really quickly, we have about $2,000 that it was like $2,300 that we got as part of a grant that I applied for last year, for education to do with recycling. And 300 of that grant, I did get the okay from DEP for us to be reimbursed for the bags that were paid for, that were stuffed with a new material. So I did get that money coming back to us. But we could work on, and I do have an intern that started today from BU, and I told her that I might have her do a project of really putting together something with recycling that we could send out to the residents that would cover postage and everything through this grant. So I just wanted to bring that up, because we have to spend it by the end of this next calendar year, like the end of December. But it could be a very useful tool, even with getting these, you know, having even sending copies of this out to people along with what can be recycled. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Would Waste Solutions be involved in this process by alerting us to find, when they go by the property, alerting us that there are?
They send us the sheets every day. They're better at sending the trash ones than recycle ones, but they do send us sheets every day. And if they have a send us a sheet that doesn't have an address on it, that someone calls up and says their trash and recycling wasn't picked up, but it's not on the sheet, they have to go back and pick it up.
Okay.
We call it in.
Let me rephrase that question. Is this something we can have Waste Solutions act as part of our enforcement office by requiring them to alert us about bulk items that are out consecutively, or?
I don't think they would do that. I mean, I don't think they would do that, because it's not really part of their contract as far as they are supposed to pick up bulk items when people call them in, you know, to arrange payment to get them. But I don't think it's part of their contract to alert us when there's bulk items out there for months on end. That's something that the Lorraine right now is letting us know, or when I'm out in the field, I can see it, you know, or you guys can see it and let us know, but no, it's not really part of their contract. Yeah. But they are going to be putting out another calendar in June that I'm going to work with them on, that will complete the rest of the year. And again, showing the yard waste day and the Christmas, you know, week, although we haven't picked those dates out yet, but I just wanted to let you know they are going to be doing another one.
Can I ask, for each household, are you only allowed one of each of those containers, the green top and
For each unit.
Okay, so if someone has bags of trash that they're putting out in addition to that, they're not
supposed to.
Okay.
Everything's supposed to fit in the container.
But I know I read somewhere online that indicated that a second container could be
Purchased.
if you have more people in your house than I have in my house, and I need two trash receptacles. This one needs two trash receptacles, and I only need one. Is it possible for them to obtain two trash receptacles?
What we do right now is Lorraine goes out and assesses it and makes sure people are recycling to the fullest first, and to assess if they do need a second trash recycle cart. If they do, they pay for it. It's $42.34 for the cart, and then $66 a year for the cost of the tonnage.
Okay.
And if it's a recycling, we're very happy to give recycling immediately, because of the fact that, you know, we get compensated for recycling.
So they could have an extra recycling container
Yeah.
at no cost?
At no cost.
But if it was regular trash, they would have
We
to?
will assess it, and they would have to pay for it.
Okay. Does the average citizen in town know that?
How many people have got
About
recycling
11.
bags? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought we were going, if they needed more recycling, they were gonna get a 96 gallon. Did we not do that?
We've been doing 96, or we do a second 64.
All right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, so based on the finding structure that was presented to us, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept this finding structure that Sharon put together.
Motion to accept the finding structure, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion?
Oh, when would it go? When would we start?
I would probably have you start immediately, because I've got to present the grant by June 12th.
Okay.
She's going to effect immediately.
Yeah.
That's an amendment, right? So that's
To the
Yes, it would
motion.
be-
I
it would be-
motion to accept the finding structure as presented to be effective immediately.
So what I will do is update this, but add it in as another category and send it out to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have to second that?
I have a motion, I had a second.
I'll second it.
Seconds, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 500. We now have a finding structure for our waste solution. And now, exciting, curiously wonderful trash regulations, no, tobacco regulations.
Oh, yeah, I have mine.
I thought I grabbed the right folder. I have the noise pollution.
I might have.
Now, what we're gonna do tonight is decide that we're gonna accept, then the people that we met with a month or so ago will write up a proposed regulation for us, and then
A
it'll come
draft,
back
yeah.
to us.
Right.
We'll review it, and then we have to have a public meeting.
Correct.
I'll just look on yours. That's all right. I don't. I have an extra.
Okay, so, we are now adapting our smoking regulations, or attempting to adapt our smoking regulations to go forward in the future. This is an option by which we can look at each one of these items and make a decision as a board whether or not we want to include them or not in our tobacco regulation requirements for the future. Once we have this vote tonight, as explained by Terry, this is going out to DPH? Public Health,
DPH,
right?
yeah.
And they're gonna come back with a autonomous tobacco regulation document for the town of Abington for us to adopt. If the board so adopts that regulation, we have to go to public forum.
It's shutting off awful quick, isn't it?
Hmm?
It seems to keep shutting off quicker tonight.
If we, once we vote for the document, we have to go to public forum, and then we have to allow for a time element on that, and then we put it in production. We put it in force. And-
I think, to be clear, I think it's stuff that we should probably ask DJ Wilson and Sarah McLaughlin, just so we have it correct, because I don't want to answer similar to what Terry just said. I want to do it absolutely correct. So I think what I can do is, once we send the draft of what we've selected, I will ask them to put in writing the exact steps that we need to take,
Okay.
right? Just so there's no issues.
Okay. So, we're gonna go through the checklist. Sharon?
Again?
Yes, yeah, because for one thing, we have a new member,
Yeah, I know.
and secondly, it was a while back.
Okay. Are we all looking from the same document?
Yep.
Okay. First item on the list was to expand our regulations to include nicotine delivery products. We want to include nicotine delivery products in our tobacco regulations.
Yes.
No.
No.
And when we say nicotine delivery products, we're talking about,
The electronic cigarettes.
I guess there's nicotine water too? Oh, no, this is about the cigarette ones. Which weren't in existence the last time we did our smoking regulations.
I still think that might include the gums, although they said it wouldn't.
That are not FDA approved.
You
I made that
can
note in the last
read
meeting.
the definition of what a nicotine delivery product is on page 4. This is made wholly or in part of tobacco substitute or containing nicotine that is expected or intended for human consumption, but not included as a product approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration for sale of tobacco use, cessation, or harm reduction product, or for other medical purposes which is being marketed and sold solely for that approved purpose. Nicotine delivery products include, but are not limited to, e-cigarettes.
Okay, so I think I have a motion, one motion to accept and one motion to reject. Did I hear that correctly? Do I have a second on the accept? On acceptance, do I have a second on the reject? Anyone?
I can't second my own.
No. So, a vote for including the tobacco regulations to expand to include nicotine delivery products. So I have all in favor, say, any further discussion first, I'm sorry. Does anyone have any further discussion? If not, all in favor of including nicotine delivery products in our new regulations, say aye.
Aye.
This aye is 4 and against 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, the second one is to include sensation sign requirements.
So that's do
my-
not smoke here signs?
I understand those are provided online, they're free, they're easy to do, there's no cost to anyone to do this. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I
No,
think
that,
we've all read
because we
that.
asked that question too.
So
There's
this
no
is,
cost.
this is a requirement that they'll have a requirement to post, sensation sign requirements in their retail business operations. Do I have a recommendation to include the sensation sign requirement in our tobacco regulation?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Any further discussion? All in
Is
favor,
there
say-
gonna be a fine if they don't?
Ooh, good question.
That is a good question.
We haven't talked about fines.
I know.
Does that waive you one way or the other to include it or not include it?
Yes.
Okay. For any of the policy decisions we make for tobacco, do we want to have a fine structure?
Yes. Yeah, because, I mean, if they're caught selling cigarettes to kids under 18, don't they take that away from them, or?
But don't we have a
It's
current
already.
fine system for breaking the current
Yes.
rules?
Yeah, but there's, in section O here, it
Thank
shows
you.
violations.
So
But
if
the
someone
town
fails to post
doesn't.
signs, do we have a financial fine or a
Yes.
process to deal with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So the answer is
we
yes,
already
we do,
did.
Margie?
I'm sorry,
Yes, we
say
will have a
We
fine
have.
structure in place.
that.
We already have one in place, actually. If I heard you correctly.
Yes, there is, it's
Okay.
$25, I believe, right now for sign, or for the first violation.
We will take a vote on dollars, values of the fines afterwards, but this is just whether or not we're including it.
Okay, sorry. If we already have it, why are we voting on it?
Because this is a new set of regulations.
So,
We're just
We're not
asking,
amending, we're changing our regulations.
changing our
completely from start to
regulations.
finish.
I wasn't, I thought from the last discussion, we didn't have anything in place, that's why.
it's
we were-
required to have signage in
By
establishment.
the town?
By
or
our
the
local
state?
board, no, our local board of health,
So then why are we voting on it?
because it's a new set of regulations that we're just doing.
We're just gonna continue to
Yeah.
have them.
Oh, I see.
Can I just ask a question? I did go online and print out the 2013 tobacco and nicotine delivery product sales permit application. Does this apply in any way to these policy decisions that we're making? Because if someone's applying to sell nicotine, does that cessation sign come into play in terms of saying that they agree?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is, they have to fill this out and agree to it before a permit can be issued.
So where is the cessation sign requirement on there?
This isn't the one I use, but it's in,
That's the only thing that I saw to print out.
right here.
Are you saying the sale of tobacco to minors is prohibited as a cessation sign requirement?
That's the one that I've been using as a, hold on,
That's not my understanding
No.
of cessation is
I
to.
taught smoking cessation for the Lung Association, so I mean, cessation means you stop smoking.
I use
teach it.
Yeah, I mean, cessation is stop.
Yeah, but that's, and I look at that as the fact of the sign being said they're not permitted to smoke in the establishment.
Can I just ask another question? So I don't know what these little squiggles are here, the little squiggle D to
That's-
B, what does that translate into?
I would believe that's a section, section D, 2B of that section.
All right, so is that identified in the, I didn't see that in here. I didn't really see much in terms of cessation.
On page 5, section D, item D, the owner of the person in charge of the shop shall place, use, sell tobacco products at a retail shall conspicuously post signage provided by the city or town board of health that discloses the current
Okay.
referral referred for smoking cessation.
All right, I missed it then. The owner, okay. It goes as current
So those
referral.
swivel things point out.
So that's what
the-
they're saying, is that the board, the Town of Abington Board of Health should make it known that the person, I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but the concept of referrals, information about smoking cessation means you have to have available to them what types of smoking cessation programs are available to them.
And we
That-
generally
and
refer
the-
them to the signage of the Department of Public Health.
No, but that's what that cessation sign has on it. It says,
I don't know, I guess I haven't really read the signs like at the places where
yeah,
I've brought other
it
things.
discloses current referral information about smoking cessation. So I'm not even, I thought I saw a sign that had both. You know, if you will not sell to people under 18
When they were
and,
here, they showed us signs that they were available from the download,
right.
and we saw those signs. They handed them out and they took them back after.
So there's a number there. If you want to quit smoking, call the quit line. As a matter of fact, that's what I get written down here as an example.
So if they're going to, I don't buy cigarettes, so if you're going someplace and you're buying cigarettes, and there should be signage that indicates that you have to be old enough to buy the cigarettes for starters, the health effects of smoking cigarettes, and then if you want to quit, contact us, 1-800 number something. Is that kind of what
That's kind of
I
it.
should see?
That's
Okay.
my interpretation.
We're kind of
And that's
saying
what
that's
and that's what they
required.
use as an example.
Okay,
Some places have them now, but not all
Okay.
places have
But
them.
this will require that all places that sell
Yeah.
cigarettes have those type of signage.
okay.
If we vote that in, that's.
Yeah, okay. So that's how you translate that, yeah, all right. 3, 2, 3, all right.
Okay, so I have a motion to accept including signage. I believe it was second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Okay. 4-1-0. 3,
This is the,
I don't
must be
think I have
18 years
either.
old.
include a sign requirement for nicotine delivery products. This is item D2C.
That seems redundant. This is the minor one, right?
Yeah, that's the one that you have to be over 18.
Okay. It's,
Page 5.
DC.
Item C, under D. It's pretty clear what the signage, like where it has to be, where it has
It
to be
was right
located.
underneath the cessation one.
It's right below
Yeah,
the
I can
cessation.
figure the squiggle out.
Yeah, the squiggle means, squiggle is citing you to the document.
Okay, thank you.
Now remember, there's specific size requirements in this. The notice shall be no smaller than 8.5 inches by 11 and shall be posted conspicuously in the establishment, etc.
And there's a certain height and a certain feet from the door. Okay, do I have a motion to accept signage requirements
I'll motion for that.
for delivery, for nicotine delivery products? I have a motion to include signage for nicotine delivery products. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second? Donna, second. Donna got her hand up before you said second. I'm gonna give
Yes, sir, you can have it if you want.
I didn't hear.
You didn't have to hear it.
Didn't hear.
You can't hear it.
I wasn't
You
looking.
can't hear this.
I wasn't looking that way.
Seriously.
Any further discussion? All in favor of including signage for nicotine delivery products, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me.
Okay, me, I'll go for me from now on.
For
Margaret
me,
Devlin
zero.
opposes
For me, 0.
government overreach.
Okay, item number 5, no permit renewal if outstanding fines exist.
Wait, we didn't do number 4.
I'm sorry.
Minimum pricing.
Permit includes complying with Mass Department of Revenue minimum pricing. This is E10.
Is this something we already have in our regulations, do you know, Sharon?
No, I believe so.
Mm-mm.
I'm wondering if it's gonna, what the impact is. I think we should,
Increased cost.
we should approve it, but I'm just wondering who it's gonna impact.
Everybody who buys tobacco. It affects the cost of tobacco. Let me clarify myself. It affects the cost of tobacco and or nicotine delivery products. Be specific. I don't wanna get stuck with just saying tobacco. It's the delivery of nicotine products at retail establishments. So item number 4 is the permit includes complying with Mass DOR minimum pricing requirements. Do I have a motion to accept including permit to include the minimum Mass DOR pricing requirements?
Yes.
Linda motions to accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Wow. Wow, okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that before we take a vote?
Well, I think my question on this will be answered when we have a hearing, as far as what the impact is.
Okay. So a motion, Donna, do you have a question?
You know, I'm just sort of wondering where, just so for my own knowledge, where did this piece of paper?
Town and public.
So this was.
This was their guidelines for us to
Okay.
formulate our new
Okay.
tobacco regulation.
and
They're gonna
there-
take whatever we vote on here and then sort of like coordinate a regulation that curls
And these
around
are the
this.
most up-to-date regulations?
Yes.
Yes, they
As
are.
of January 2013.
Normally, the town of Abington can vote to take on the state's current regulation
Okay,
as their guideline
yeah.
or as their current policy until we get a chance to put our regulation out. As we did for our noise regulation, I see your finger, Will. As we did for our noise regulation, we adopted the state noise regulation requirements just so we have a policy, because there was some confusion on that. So we at least have something on the books that says these are the guidelines we go by. You can then go in and adapt those to a local guide.
Okay,
So our local regs can take it one step beyond or one step less, whichever we choose to do as a board. So each board within the town can take upon any of those regulations that are state certified and either increase their or decrease their authority at any point in time. But ultimately, people will, if they have to go to court, will cite the state and federal over the town,
okay,
because that's where the legislative authority comes from.
okay.
Yes, Mark?
Just to clarify, it wasn't DPH that was here, weren't they,
It was DPH.
what was their name though? The
DJ
group?
Wilson was the attorney.
Oh, okay, I thought that Sarah was from a group that was, received funding from a
She's
grant.
a grant for the state, paid by the state.
But what was the name of the group?
She's from DPH also.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I have a motion second to include the minimum DOR pricing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me,
So for me 1, for me 0?
yep.
Okay. For
No
me, 0.
permit renewal if outstanding fines exist. I motion to accept that one.
A motion to accept no permit renewal if outstanding fines exist. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
Margie seconds that one.
There you go.
Me is in the ball game. Here we go. Any further discussion?
Maggie likes to follow rules and regulations, yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor of including, non-renewal if, outstanding fines, say aye.
Aye.
500. Missed the me.
You'll get it back,
There's
don't
Mom.
worry. It's coming again.
This is rather a different one. Cap in or reduce the number of permits. Donna, just for a little background here. Okay. I don't need to give you background then. I was just gonna say, it was pointed out that for a town of our size, we have something like 32.
38.
38.
Yeah, I think it's,
Actually, no, it went up one because there's a new store.
I think
on
it's either
Route
30 or
18.
31 right now.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. We have a lot of people selling tobacco, nicotine delivery products in this town.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, but, you know, some people may see this as a limitation of business, some people may say this, you know, stuff like that. Cause, you know, if you vote, it's like a liquor license. Certain, liquor licenses are based on population, so our town has 11 liquor licenses. If you want a liquor license and 11 of them, you'd have to buy one of the 11, or you have to file and get an amendment from the state liquor license to have the town allowed to be issued additional license to get you a license. So what we're saying here is that if we have 30 or 31, if we want to set, and we're not, all we're saying here is to include a cap, we're not setting the cap, we're just saying include a cap. This is not setting the cap number, this is simply saying cap and or reduce the number of permits. Do we want to include that in our regulation? Am I clarifying if I'm making, you know, my words come out sometimes and they don't come out right sometimes, so.
I think they are looking for a number though.
But we have to do that in our reg, when we get our reg back, we're gonna do that. But I think right now, do we wanna include cap in our reg as part of our smoking regulations?
Oh, I see what you're saying,
Tobacco
but in the
regulations.
example they actually have a number,
And I think we will when we vote this in as a regulation.
okay?
But I'm not voting a number today, I'm just voting, do you wanna include the cap and or decrease number when we set our regulation? I think that's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's been a long day for me already, so I apologize. So do we want to cap in or reduce the number of permits? I have
I do.
okay.
I think the
I have
town's
a-
way
I
too
have a-
small.
I have a request to cap in or reduce the number of permits. Do I have a second on that?
Would the hookah bar come into this?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would
definitely.
need a permit.
Yeah,
They'll need a permit.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that we should have a,
Okay, so,
That's a second.
so I have a cap in a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
4-0. She would promise me, she's happy.
so you're opposing because you don't think we should have a,
I'm opposing restriction on business of a legal
okay.
product.
The next one is including minimum.
I'm just trying to figure
I'm
out
sorry.
why people do and don't do things, okay.
I'm including, in the next one, is including the minimum cigar package size price. This had to do with the fact that they sell individual cigars in
Oh.
all types of flavors. And,
And
God, I
break-
looked up the hookah, hookah
Hookah, hookah.
hookah permit. There's like 38 flavors of tobacco you can smoke in a hookah bar.
Yeah.
Like this, so
Not
like
candy.
I went into Brennan's cigar shop and behind the counter, they had all those you know, the envelope. They really do have grape, lemonade, cherry, lime. Not that I'm questioning the values of any adult, but why would anyone want to smoke a grape cigar? I just,
They don't.
I'm at loss.
They-
They
They're
just
not
want the
small.
smell.
I'm a little lost on flavored cigars, but this one is including, what this one, I guess, I think the woman DJ said that they go in and break up cigars and sell them individually. And this would require them to leave them in the packaging.
Although some of them, like my corner store, he gets like a box and they're all individually, that's how he buys them.
But this would stop that. We would,
I'm not sure if it does.
Yeah, one of the regs
Because it says,
does.
this section shall not apply to a sale or distribution of any cigar having a retail price of $2.50 or more. So
okay, but
I don't know how much he sells them.
those are 69 cents a burn.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
You just say
they're
that,
below
and I
$1.
just went in one, I'm sorry.
So it is setting a limitation on what they can't sell. So,
Contained in an original package of at least 4, so that would not be allowed.
right. So that's what I'm pointing out, so.
So kids wouldn't be able to go in with their lunch money and buy a
Kids
single
shouldn't be
cigar.
doing it anyway. We already have regulations for that. They shouldn't be.
Some of them are 18 in high school, that's what I'm saying.
But they're
like-
18, they're not.
No, I
kids.
know. Well, believe me, they are still.
Well, then raise the
But-
smoke, raise the
but-
age.
They can go in and buy single ones now for, with their lunch money. So if we
Their lunch.
Really? Well, no, lunch is $5 now, right? But this would limit that, they would have to pay $2.50 for a single one, right? So it's really just gonna make it harder for them to get them. So they'll just go to Rockland or Whitman or whatever. And that's where you'll be knowing that, because then we're giving the other towns business. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think an 18-year-old's
But-
a child with lunch money, but that's, we'll talk about that
Well, no,
later.
but I'm just saying, they're, in high school, a lot of the kids are 18. Some of them, you can be up to 20 in high school. And believe me, they're not just buying them for themselves, they're buying them for everybody else in the
And
school.
that's where the regulation should come in and find them.
Okay, so do I have a motion to include a minimum cigar package size and price?
As long as I would say as long as it meets this regulation here, unless we wanna amend it, cause as this thing is written, the single cigar doesn't apply.
As long as the value of that single cigar is greater than $2.50.
Yeah, it shall not apply to. Okay. So they would have to buy a package with 4 in it, is that
Mhm.
what this
Yes.
says?
And that would take the price up to 4 times 70, which is $2.80.
Rather than being able to go in and buy a single one for
69
cents.
I think they wanna
Really?
Yeah,
increase the price even more, like, that was the example she gave, that one would cost like 4 times as much.
Yeah.
But you gotta imagine that the tobacconist in business is gonna wanna sell the least expensive amount. He's gonna try to meet that $2.50 requirement for the package of 4, so he can sell more of them.
Yeah.
This is a volume sale, this isn't, we're not smoking quality tobacco from Havana now, ladies and gentlemen. So do I have a motion to include minimum size pricing? Can I do that myself as a chairman? I'm motioning to include that. Do I have a
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What one was that, 7?
Opposed?
Me,
4 me, 0. 8. Ban blunt wraps. I think you should read what blunt wraps are if you don't understand what blunt wraps are. It's item G.
Back at the blunt wrap.
I don't know what they are, but I know what they're used for.
they usually
The back of the blunt wrap.
It's,
They
instead
use
of,
it to
instead of
buy-
buying a rolled cigar, it's loose tobacco that has been twisted,
Okay.
and they're sold like backwoods, or, trying to think of the names that are out there. They're long leaf rolled, but they're not formally, they're blunt, they're
Cigars or
rough.
cigarettes?
They're cigars.
Oh.
I motion to include a ban on blunt wraps.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further conversation? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
me.
4 0.
Now, this is one I can vote no on, ban redemption
Me
of
too.
coupons, because, you know, I'm a big coupon user, and I wouldn't wanna take that away from someone.
Subjugating anything. The next one is item number 9, to ban redemption of coupons at cigar or nicotine delivery establishments. Trying to be good here, come on, give me help here. Anyone want a motion to include a ban of coupons? I do, so I'm putting out, anybody else? Okay, so, do I have a second? I have a motion, and second to ban
You're going down.
redemption of coupons. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Me,
Okay, it's 2, 3, 0.
2, 3.
Ban self-service displays.
Okay, so that would be.
Wait a minute. So,
Skip one?
oh, all right, never mind. Because we didn't vote yes, it was a no. Gotcha.
Which means you can grab your own cigarettes, you can touch them, is that,
This is, I believe what this
Or
means
is
is
that-
not that you can't have anything on the counter that I can walk
Yeah.
to the store, reach and pull the cigarette package
Yeah.
from. Cigarettes need to be established behind the counter, out of my hand.
and that's already a rule anyway.
And cigars.
So-
We don't have cigarette machines around anymore.
Well, that's the next one, so.
I motion to
Oh,
accept that, banning
Ban
self-service.
self-service displays with motion to accept. Do I have a second? I second that. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0-0. Ban vending machines.
I'll
I
motion
didn't
to
know
ban
they
vending
existed
machines.
anymore.
Well, they do.
They were banned in 2007, actually.
What tickets can you find a vending machine?
Well, you gotta have it in there so that it doesn't come back.
Mm.
Really?
I think it's
Oh my
gone now.
goodness gracious.
We're talking tobacco regulations or on banning vending machines. We have a motion, I believe, to ban vending machines. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Any further to say? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0-0. Ban non-residential RYO machines.
Roll around.
Thank you very much, everybody.
What does non-residential mean?
Yeah,
People can roll their own in their own house, but if you might remember when I say it, when they were here from DPH, these are like establishments, and you can go in and roll your own in larger
Oh,
quantities.
okay.
oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
were saying that it was a health hazard because there were so many people touching the equipment and things like that.
So do I have a motion to ban non-residential roll your own machines? I motion to ban non-residential motion machines. Do I have a second?
Second?
Ban and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Me,
Me,
3-2-0.
now, 13 is misleading.
Okay, 13 is a ban tobacco sales in healthcare institutions.
And as was stated by, which this is, let's be honest what this is. This is to stop the sale of tobacco products in such stores as, for example, as CVS, Walmart, Target, because they have pharmacies. So that's misleading.
Target doesn't sell
Well, I'm
cigarettes.
using that as an example.
Walmart does.
Any place that has a pharmacy, that's not a health, that's like saying, I'm gonna go into work and buy a pack of cigarettes. I mean, they
Well,
don't
if
sell
they-
them in
if they have a
hospitals. Let's be honest with
Minute
it.
Clinic, which we don't have any
That's not a
CVS's in
healthcare
Abington anyway.
institution.
But if there's a Minute Clinic inside of a,
It's not a
pharmacy,
healthcare institution. It's
they
a
are
store.
taking care of people.
It's a store.
I mean, they accept insurance, they're taking care of people.
Yeah,
So it is
it's
kind
a
of a
store.
healthcare.
No, it's not. It's
Says
not a
no- yeah, no
healthcare
retailers-
institution.
No retail establishment that operates
It's
or
a
has
retail
a healthcare
establishment.
institution within
Yeah.
it.
They're on it.
Pharmacy, drugstore.
Okay, so do I have a motion to ban tobacco sales in healthcare institutions?
I'm opposed.
I'll say yes.
Motion it.
Have a
'Cause I don't
motion and
think that's
second
their
to
main
ban
revenue
healthcare-
anyway.
Healthcare and health sales in healthcare institutions. Is there any further conversation on this topic? All
Yeah,
in
they
favor?
should change the wording on that.
It's the wording.
Okay. How would
It-
you? how-
It should say to ban tobacco sales in stores that have
A pharmacy.
pharmacies.
Yeah,
Okay, so I have a motion to change the language to say from ban tobacco sales in healthcare institutions to ban tobacco sales in stores that have pharmacies.
Of
Or
retail
pharmacy
establish,
stores.
retail
Or
establishments
retail
that have
establishments.
pharmacies.
Okay.
Page
Do
9.
we take a vote on the original motion, or do we take a vote on the re-motion?
Well,
well,
the
can we legally
definition-
change that
well,
definition
the
and vote on it?
definition, the definition does say that. It
Yeah.
does.
Right.
This
I mean,
little
But it's still
checklist.
misleading.
Yeah, the checklist is just,
It does say that no
Yeah.
healthcare institution located in, say, Abington shall sell or cause to be sold tobacco or nicotine delivery products. So
Right, but
essentially, if there was a
I have a
hospital in
problem-
Abington, we couldn't sell
No, but
tobacco
that's not what
products.
they were
And
talking about.
also, no retail establishment that operates
That's what we're
or
talking about.
has a healthcare institution within it,
Right,
such as a pharmacy or drugstore.
right, so it's stopping the tobacco sales in a pharmacy or drugstore. It's not a healthcare institution.
I don't know, CVS is not a pharmacy to me, it's a store.
With
It's
the
a re- it-
pharmacy in it.
It's a retail establishment that happens to have a pharmacy in it, as
That's what I'm
strange as,
saying.
same as,
That's
Stop and Shop, you can't buy.
Actually, CVS is Consumer Value Store.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
Can you buy cigarettes at Stop and Shop?
Yeah.
yeah.
and we don't
And
have a
they have
CVS in
pharmacies.
Abington
Yes,
anymore.
they do.
So how does,
And Walmart would fall into that category as well.
so if you have,
Target
because
does.
we're sort of like
But they don't
branching
sell
out and selling everything everywhere
Target doesn't
nowadays.
sell cigarettes.
But,
Oh, we don't.
if you have a Stop and Shop, or you have a Walmart, or you have a whatever, that sells groceries, it's a retail establishment, it also has a pharmacy inside of it, but it
Right.
also sells cigarettes, so then you're gonna go back, explain to me how,
Because my explanation is that that's misleading to say
But
that,
I
and I
think-
think it's
I think-
foolish.
but I
I'm
think-
not finished, Sharon. I was talking, so that was my point.
okay,
If you're going to ban it in a retail establishment that has a pharmacy, just say that. Don't say in a healthcare institution, that's misleading.
they're two different things though, there's a healthcare institution, and then the retail establishment
But the
that
number
has a healthcare
13 is
institution in it.
Ban tobacco sales in healthcare institutions, which makes it sound like you're saying ban tobacco sales in hospitals.
Right, but
It's
then when I
misleading.
read the definition
Right,
of it,
but
the
the-
definition is very different than the one liner there.
But that's what they should say, just to
Well,
ban
that's
it
because that's
in
just a checklist.
pharmacies.
Right, so is this checklist, is this something that you include as part of the
No.
policy? So
No.
this is
This
just.
is just a
gonna say,
wording
this is
to
just
what
a
should be
wording.
part of our
That's
regulation.
what I was gonna say, it's the same
We're gonna have,
thing.
we're gonna have more of this
So
in it.
the wording
than-
will actually be what's in the main
What's
body
here.
of it,
Right.
that
Page
we
nine.
would
When we vote on this to be our regulation, we'll be voting on this whole paragraph, or any amendment we make to that paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
All we're
I,
trying to do right now is what do we want to put in that?
Okay.
And when you say that in your public meeting, you'll explain that to people.
Of course,
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're
they'll-
not gonna see the checklist, they're gonna see
That's
they're
all
gonna
I
see
want.
they're gonna see this.
the
that's all I
regulations.
had wanted to say, is
Okay,
you have to
okay.
read the definition, this is just a shorter version of the
Yeah,
definition.
Okay, so I had a first and second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me,
For me, 0.
and when this is presented to the citizens of the town of Abington, they can question
Oh,
decisions
absolutely.
for each one, and then maybe that might help you sort of further define them, then you would have to go back and,
Well, they'll probably get copies of the draft,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I think it'd be good for them to have something they can read.
Okay, so they would get a copy of the draft, and then, yeah, you know, I do somewhat agree with you in terms of the fact that because we're making things so much easier for people to shop and whatnot everywhere, you know, that, the identification of a healthcare institution is sort of changing. It's not just a particular place where you can go get healthcare. It's a CVS, it's a wherever, Walmart, I don't know what else has the minute clinics and stuff like that. I think do they have them like at Walmart? Is it,
Yes.
what's the other, Walgreens? You
Walgreens.
can't get them off the Wall
Walgreens.
Street.
Yeah, the W.
Yeah, so they have them too?
But
Walgreens, I believe,
Walmart
does.
has flu clinics also.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll do shots. They'll even give out antibiotics during the winter for
Yeah.
flu season.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah.
Gonna ban tobacco sales in educational institutions.
Yes.
Second.
Favor and second, any further discussion? All in favor,
so is
say aye.
that colleges?
Aye.
Yeah, but when the University of Abington gets created, it's not gonna allow them to sell cigarettes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me,
For me, 0. 15. Finding structure mirror state law.
I don't know if I like these numbers that they're putting, they seem a little much higher than what we have. I'd be willing to look at a happy medium. Page 9, section O. Because you said their first fine is $25 and the first fine here is $100.
Yeah, but our regulations go back to 2001.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying I would be more comfortable with coming up with a number in between what we have and
So
this.
all we're saying here is that we will or will not follow the state
We'll
law
adopt their,
for the thing, so we don't have to, or we can, whichever we.
Well,
want
I
to.
like the way the actual section is put together. I just, it's the
So,
amounts.
Can I change the wording of number 15? Include a fining structure in our tobacco registrations.
we have one, don't we?
Include
Yes,
an
we did. I'm
amended,
sorry, I didn't know you
That's
were.
all
include
right.
an amended fining structure within our new tobacco regulations.
I thought they told us that we had pretty high ones to begin with. I thought that's what they said when we were here. I was surprised.
Yeah, but ours
They're
ours
very
are-
antiquated.
Ours are 14 years old, so.
No, but I thought the
agree
DPH
with
said
you.
it was, I thought they thought it was high. I thought these were our numbers. These
I
are,
don't
these are the
think-
states?
These are the state's numbers.
Yeah, what's our
I'm all about
first
the
offense?
I don't know if I have a I know the first one is $25. I don't know what, I think it goes up to maybe 200. I don't know if I have a copy of the current ones with me.
Well, I'm looking, let's see,
I
this is June 2007.
Okay.
And June 2007 had 100, 200, 300.
Yeah, they said
Oh,
ours were
I'm
high,
sorry.
Is
yeah.
the first one though 25?
No, I could have sworn they said ours already were very close to the states. That's what I
If
thought they
we have,
said.
then I'm
The
comfortable.
ones signed in 2003 were 100, 200, 300.
150?
Those are the
That's
two I
our
have.
annual fee.
Oh, sorry.
I know, that's what I was looking for. I thought I had.
I remember them saying that.
That's this the document, which is our current, that's what I believe is our current tobacco document, so fining structure,
Somebody else see it?
So to clarify, this is a fine on an establishment that sells to minors, right?
Or you could
Or
touch
if they
the
don't have their
cigarettes,
signage
right.
up, or if they have something on the counter you can reach,
Okay.
any of the,
Yeah, it is correct.
The numbers?
Yeah.
All right, so then I'm
so
comfortable.
the current structure is 100, 200, 300, so that is the current state level. They
Right.
suggested, I believe, that we should increase it, but they also made this statement on section C of section O on page 9. In the second line, we should change the word shall or may.
That's one of the ones down the bottom.
Yeah.
That's number 17.
Okay. So I just wanted to point that out. So do we want to have the fines? I'd like to have the right to adjust the fining structure without having to follow a state reg.
All right, well then you would vote no on that. You don't
No,
want to
I'm-
mirror
I'm
it.
just saying me. I'm
Yeah.
not telling the board what to do. I'm
Well-
just saying, me as a member of this board,
Right,
my personal opinion was we should be able to establish our own fining structure. I don't want to follow the state's guidelines for fining structure. I'd like to
Right.
establish either what we have now or what we will have when we vote our regulations.
so you want to go lower than the states? I
didn't
think
say
we
that.
should,
Well,
we
well, I'm
should,
wondering,
You think we should stay at least?
I
at the
think we
minimum?
should stay minimum at the state law, if not raise it.
Again, we're allowed to do this. This is called freedom of speech, so.
right.
if we do adopt it as the way it is on page 9, that's what the amounts will be in place when we put these,
When we vote the
enforce
regs.
these, right. So if the state goes up to 2, 4, and 6,
We would too, because we
No, we
wouldn't.
wouldn't, because
well-
this would be written in our regulations, this would be printed
This
out.
would be a
like-
minimum.
Yeah, this would be like this,
Yeah,
and it
So-
can't change until there's a vote for an amendment. to
then
this.
that's fine, because this is saying to mirror it. We're voting on to mirror it.
The state law
But
as of
it-
right now.
Yeah, but what
Yeah.
it is this is number 15 saying this is what the regulation would look like if it was to mirror.
Yes.
the-
So if they go up in a year, that's okay. We're mirroring this one.
this is what's gonna be printed,
And this will be
Yeah.
the minimum
right.
fines.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Well, that's my interpretation.
a vote to include, the fine structure to mirror the state law. Do I have a motion to accept that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion to accept it. Do I have a second? Yes, I have a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in
Sorry,
favor,
I'm
say
still
aye.
reading.
It's okay. You want one more
I
time?
just happened to, this particular one here, it has the finding, the amounts of the $300 I see there. The third violation. Okay, all right. Ask me the question again, I'm sorry.
We're voting to include the current state mirror finding structure for our tobacco
Structure.
regulations.
This one that you're reading.
We've had a motion to accept those, and a second.
A second.
So your second, so any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is it 500?
Yep.
Okay, the next one is a little more confusing. It's called tolling periods for violations. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon, this is the period in between violations occurring?
Yes.
And
And the tolling would be, you could 24 months, 36 months, 2 years, 3 years,
Yes.
were the suggestions that were in here.
so do we want to include tolling periods in our regulations? I'm taking a motion to include tolling periods.
What's our current
For
tolling
violations.
period? Is it a year?
Which one do you want?
Because I would have assumed,
Never assume.
I know, that's what my problem is.
Oh, the old one.
That's the
yeah.
old one,
So the
yeah.
tolling, can you say that again?
Tolling is the frequency in between violations.
So if you're clean for a year, does it become a first
Right.
offense? Or
Okay.
does it take 2 years before it can become a first offense again?
So if we vote to accept this, then what are we voting
Well,
for?
We will include some type of tolling period in our new regulation.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it looks like currently, if there's the four, it depends on how many, like, consecutive violations, but it goes from, hold on. At the second violation, within a 12-month period, it would be suspended, the permit for 3 days, and then a fine of $600. Third violation, a period of 12 months, would be suspended no less than 10 days, and up to 30 days, and will be fined $1,000. In the case of the fourth violation, a 12-month period, the permit holder shall have the permit revoked for a 1-year period, which time they be permitted to reapply to the board. That's what we have currently.
And then if you look to the right, it says, it's not a yes/no vote, it's a 24-month or 36-month, so I would assume the 24-month is the more stricter version.
And currently, we're at 12 months, so we'd be reducing it if we go with
Oh.
that.
I like the fines, but I'm okay with 24 months.
So a tolling period of 24 months versus a tolling period, do we have to vote for each one and see which happens, or do we just want to vote which one we want?
Or vote that we're just gonna have a tolling period.
Or vote
All
on
right.
a tolling period,
Well,
we'll
we
worry
can-
about it later.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they're gonna put it in the regs, so we kinda wanna,
So do we want to vote to include tolling periods of 24 months, or vote to include tolling periods of 36 months
And
in
we
our
already have a
regulation?
12-month? We already have a
Yeah, we have
12-month?
a breakdown of
Then let's keep the current.
12 months, yes.
Wouldn't the
yeah,
current
I'm
be
wondering why
stricter?
why it's
Yeah.
2 years and not a year.
They went over this stuff, but I can't remember all of it.
Can we keep our
Yes.
current
Anything
if
we
it's
want.
Yeah, we
12?
can keep
Well-
what we want, yeah.
So the 24 and the 36 on here, that's just an example
That's
of
just an
numbers?
example.
Suggestions, yeah.
So we'll
Then why don't we just keep what we have?
so we would say, yes, we're gonna have
We're going to include a
total,
tolling
Yes,
period
we're-
of 12 months in our
Mhm.
regulations. How's that?
that's
Perfect.
good.
Do I have a motion to accept 12 months of tolling periods?
Yes.
Motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, 500. And the last one is the wording shall versus may in the language of suspensions.
Now,
This
I
was-
know they, I'm sorry to interrupt you, I know they, had recommended to say may. No, excuse me, shall,
Shall.
you shall do
Because
X.
may is a variable and
I
shall
know.
is a distinction.
But this is just in regards for suspensions?
That's what it says. Shall versus may language for suspensions. You shall be suspended if you sell to minors, or you may be suspended if you sell to minors. You shall be suspended if you don't post the proper signage. You may be suspended. It opens a window of opportunity of interpretation.
Right.
Using the word shall versus may. So we want
Shall
to use the
is
word
more
shall,
forceful.
with any suspension that we issue, would we say we would use the word shall be suspended for 3 months versus may be
Yeah,
suspended?
but shall would be like, basically, you are
You will.
suspended.
Correct.
Whereas may would
Yes.
be, we'll think about it.
Possibility.
Let's not think about it.
Shall
I
is
think
more
shall
forceful.
is,
So do I have a motion to have the word shall in our language for suspensions?
yes.
Motion. Second?
A second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Perfect.
Let's go.
Do you mind if you go back up to the instructions for use for a second and just decide if you wanna change it for
No,
number
I have
two?
no mind at all. To help me out here.
If you read number two, if you wanna change it to an ordinance or bylaw or keep it as a regulation, I just would need to know that. And then if you
I'm-
want it.
I'm
I
with
think
you.
regulation,
Okay,
I can't say that for the board. I'm saying.
I would like to keep it as a regulation also.
But the board is welcome to adopt anything else they want, an ordinance or bylaw, if you choose to change it.
Because bylaws, everyone ignores bylaws.
So, there's also something.
They do?
Yeah.
To remove the
If
reference
there's
to
a
Board of
bylaw,
Health
they
and
could-
or remove authority
It's a
section.
$50 fine.
Ah.
Nobody does
So I just need to have you think about this. So the first one I ask for is, do we want to change the wording of our ordinance to be a regulation bylaw, an ordinance, bylaw, or a regulation?
Board of Health regulation.
It's a Board of Health regulation.
Yeah.
Does everyone agree?
it. Yes.
Mm.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion and second, sorry.
So that would remove the need to go for being safe.
Right.
If you currently call it a regulation.
So we're gonna go for, it's gonna be called a regulation.
Not about Board of Health regulations.
okay, and you have a fill-in effective date?
Well, we don't know.
We have to have
We
If
need
I
to
think-
go
I
town
think I
meeting.
Think about this.
I think I have to send something though possibly, and just put.
The earliest effective date this could be is August 1st, I'm thinking.
Well, how long does it take to get this back from DPH to schedule the public hearing, and then how soon after, I mean, is there anything that we are required?
We're only meeting once in July and once in August, so that's, I just wanna point this out to people. So you have to be here or we're gonna get caught if we don't. So maybe we wanna pump this out to September or October. I'm just putting it out for the board because.
I'm just afraid that if we put September in and we haven't met all the requirements by then, we're gonna somehow,
I'm just gonna put a question mark next to it, but I just wanted to fill in something.
yeah, and it's based on meeting all the requirements.
Up to
September
and-
1st,
Up to and
based
including
on-
October 1st? No later than October 1st? I'm trying to give us a variance to do it earlier.
Well, I'd like to see it done earlier.
How about no
but-
later than September?
Well, I think we need to put the caveat on base, you know,
If we lost either July or August, we'd lose September 1st out, because we'd have to have a public forum with everyone. So, and again, you're right, I don't know how soon they turn this around and give it back to us, and we are in the month of June.
I'm
So-
assuming they have a quick template, that's my gut feeling, because
I am too, but
they do these a lot.
We probably won't have it for June 3rd, we may get this for June.
no later than September 1st.
How many meetings,
based
June
on
and
meeting
July?
all
We
the
only do,
requirements.
are we
One
just
in
doing
July,
one?
one in August.
Oh, June, two,
No,
still?
June we have 2, July we have 1, August we have 1, and then we go back to the regular double schedule in September,
Okay.
so. Anybody besides me, because I'm just trying to think outside the box, because I know how we work, and if we lost a meeting in July or August, we may not meet the
I think
September
September.
deadline. But if we put it no later than October 1st, we may be able to make that deadline.
Right.
Well, then let's do that.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
No
in
later
case
than
somebody
October
misses a
1st,
meeting.
2013.
yeah.
Thank you.
Over the summer.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Progress.
Wow, I didn't think we'd go that.
Standing up for the business.
Individuality.
That's good. I'm glad
And we already did minutes, right? We're gonna amend those minutes?
Well,
No?
I would
I
like
think
them
we need-
amended.
Yeah, wasn't that the meeting that Donna wants to amend that?
yeah, well, we chit-chatted about it, now it's to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, well, I had an issue,
Because Margie has one too, so.
yeah.
Okay. The next thing on our agenda is we voted for, we did our vouchers is the last thing on, I think that's minutes.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the way that, my issue that I brought up with the exotic animals as pets. So I asked it be amended to what I had written, so it looks like she included that, in this email. I mean, yeah, I was kind of surprised that Mary would, Margie mentions, blah, blah. I mean, I had a lot more to say. I think I basically had that put on the agenda and said that I would like the board, to review this and listen and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't, I just didn't just mention something.
Duly noted, but I think to make that type of change, we would have had to take a vote.
It's right there.
No, we would have to take a vote.
Yeah,
to
no, I
include it in our
understand.
in our minutes. I
Yeah,
don't
but,
believe we took a vote to include it in our minutes at our last meeting.
no, these are from the last meeting.
Right.
So what I was saying was, I'm not gonna okay that. Can you reword that? And this is really what it should say, which is more reflective of what I had brought up.
Okay.
I think when you're doing minutes, you don't do it as a subjective. You have to be objective.
So are you saying you'd like to motion to put in the verbiage that you sent in the email on May 9th?
Yeah, I mean, if you can agree, or,
No. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I just kind of said this is more what,
All right. and
what
that's-
was presented, you can,
It's an opinion,
Right.
it's not a
Right.
direction, it's just an opinion.
Right, so,
You have the right,
I
as
know,
long as it's been discussed within the open forum of the meeting.
yeah,
And as long as it's approved, you have the right to have your opinion mentioned in the minutes.
and you have a right to amend the minutes.
right,
to
the
meet-
the
If you-
amend, the
if you-
amending
if
is
you
what I'm
think-
To
asking.
meet that guide.
Yeah,
Right.
if you think you worded it better and we all agree, we can vote on it. So
That's
you
what,
may-
that's what I would like.
That's what we're voting on, right?
Right.
That's what we'll be voting on?
Yeah,
Help me out.
Yes, I would,
Take the lead on this one.
no,
'Cause
Margie,
You know,
Margie.
you do this well better than I do.
Just,
I don't do this
you
well
would,
at all.
your motion is to amend.
Oh,
that-
I'm sorry, yeah, to amend it, I would like to make a motion to take out what was previously written and then have the board review what I had suggested I feel was more accurate, and then if you agree to accept it, that's what I feel more comfortable, which was, I feel it's just more accurate.
Okay.
And I remember you saying those things, so I second that motion.
Thank
So we have a
you.
motion and second to amend the minutes to include the verbiage that Margie has forwarded to the Board of Health Office, to replace the language that's currently in this paragraph that says Margie mentions, to be replaced with Margie would like. Is that correct? I want to make sure I'm
Yes.
accurate.
Yes, Margie would like the board to review,
Okay.
blah, 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 yes.
So all we're saying is to include the verbiage in our minutes. So we'd like
Yes.
to, I'll take a vote to that. So we have a motion and second to change the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. 5-0-0, the minutes will be changed.
Thank
So
you.
Mary, we need you to amend the minutes for two things. One is Donna will send you some language as to what she was hoping for in a discussion for the variances. And two, we've amended to change the paragraph that starts with Margie mentioned and replace it with Margie would in the email. And we will vote on these minutes at the next time. Is that-
And then,
Thank you.
to Donna's point about the trash variance mix,
sorry.
I actually did, to be honest with you, I did send a email to Mary and told her that I was not pleased with them and that I did not make myself a copy of that email, unfortunately, and I thought I sent it so that it would go to everybody, but apparently I didn't do that. Yeah, I think it just ended up coming to me. So I will just review what I had said to her, the wording that I had, and ask her to send that on. Because I did give her the idea of what I wanted to put in there, so.
I just want to add one thing, and I don't know if this is important for people in the town. I feel it's important, that these meetings are now taped, and I know Mary is busy in the office. I know she can't capture everything that we say, with the minutes. These meetings are taped, they're available on YouTube. So people in the town can access them, pretty much any time, just so you're aware as well.
Yeah.
So they're posted, and, you know, if people wanted to go back and review the dates, they could, and just get a more accurate or in-depth, you know, review of the meeting.
Okay. I think that's our agenda.
That is, yay.
And so we're gonna, pass on,
We're not gonna vote on these until these
We're
two
not-
amendments are done, we'll vote on the next one. That's my decision.
So motion to adjourn?
wow, that's on you.
I have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, anything further to say?
I think we should just hang around a while.
I'll say it afterwards.
Anything further to say? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, this meeting is closed.
Tomorrow's